life of ours. When I start looking at new curricula, my favorite way to get a good understanding of it is to look at an actual copy that I can hold in my hands. Going to a friend, finding someone in a homeschool group, but that's tricky to find. And sometimes YouTube's a great resource, but there's resources that I've been interested in that I haven't seen on here. So I thought I would start a series spotlighting some of the curricula that we use and talk to you about how we use it, what I like, what I don't, and then giving you a tour through it so that you can, browse through my curricula. The first one I'm going to spotlight is called Growing with Grammar, and it's published by Jack Chris Publishing out of Indiana. They have Growing with Grammar, they have Writing with Ease, and Soaring with Spelling. They have it for grades 1 through 8, and they're levels 1 through 8. The levels 1 through 3 have just a workbook for Growing with Grammar and retails for about $15, and then after that they split it up to the student manual where it has the information itself, and then a consumable workbook. These two plus the answer key retail for $30.99, and then if you want the tests, there's an additional $2. You can order it all as a package. The shipping I forgot to look at, but it was very reasonable. I think it was about $5 when I ordered these. One of the things I really like about it is that the manual is written to the student. So there's no teacher guide. So it's easy for them to read and understand what's going on and then use the information in here to do the work in the workbook. My daughter is another thing I like about it is that it has a really good amount of practice without it being overwhelming. This one I think strikes a really good balance of that, and I'll show you when I open up it. I like that at the end of each lesson they do some review through previous lessons within that chapter or within previous chapters. I also really like that this is reusable, so that if you have multiple children who will be using this, you don't have to keep repurchasing this book. My biggest dislike about it is that I think there's not enough cumulative review. I really wish they had brought in more throughout it. Sometimes I will have her either not do all the problems in a section, knowing that we'll come back to that as a later review, or I can just make it my own, or we'll just do orally. Like take some of the problems in here and do them orally, where I read it and then let her give me the answers to it. And my other negative is that I wish there was more writing incorporated into this. Not that I want it to be a writing program, but I would like there to be so much of the work in here is fill in the blank or choosing from a list type of thing, versus them learning how to incorporate the different grammar within a sentence, writing their own sentence to practice whatever they just learned. I really wish there was more of that in here. This curricula is good for someone who wants independent work for their child. It's written and the very clear examples. I think it's a great choice for independent work for a student who really enjoys workbooks. I have one. It is really easy to implement. That's something I really love about this, is that it's open and go. The only preparation that I do is to look ahead and make sure I know what all the parts of speech are, and kind of make sure I'm brushed up on all of those. And the other prep I do is to go through with my highlighter and highlight anything that I want to make sure catches my daughter's eye. That's the only preparation I do, so it literally probably takes me 2 minutes, if that, to do. There are about 100 lessons in each level, so it's not a daily curricula. We usually do 3 days a week of it. Every grade level really builds right on the next one, but it's also very repetitive. So I don't necessarily think this is a bad option to spread out over 2 years. That fits your teaching style. And then what I know now, I would have just planned last year to do it a couple days a week, and then plan to do it over 2 years. So we could have focused more, so we would have had more time to focus on other writing things last year. But live and learn. One last thing that I wanted to mention is that if you like diagramming, this curricula does cover it. If you love diagramming, this is probably not enough diagramming for you. No idea that people really, really loved it until reading on the Well-Trained Mind forums that some people really are crazy for it. So if you're one of those people, this probably does not have enough. Though I did see they have a new one that's called Digging with Diagramming. So that may be an option for you. If you hate diagramming, there is little enough of it that it's very, very easy to skip over. It's at the end of each work pages, so you can just zoom right by it. Okay? Level 4 book. I also have the level 3 manual, and it looks basically the same. Starts with the preface, the table of contents. This level has 8 chapters in it. Each level varies by how many chapters it has in it, but they all average around 100 lessons. I like that the page is not busy. Little decoration with the little clip arts and the varied formatting, but it's not busy. Starts off, it gives you the what the subject or what the lesson is about, the definitions of what you're studying, and then it goes into examples. Each lesson in the student manual is about 3 to 4 pages. They have very clear examples, very well labeled and explained. And like I said, with the diagramming, this section is all about diagramming. But again, if you don't want to do diagramming, it's easy to skip over. It's not an integral part of the program enough that it would be difficult to not use. In the beginning, they do more diagramming as they're introducing it than they do later on. The end of each chapter does have a review with simple headings and short little definitions for what each part, about each part that you practiced. And so then each chapter, that's basically, the same thing at each chapter. Starts off with the definitions, then goes into examples. This one is on making words plural, so you can see this is example of where I highlighted, because I wanted to make sure she could quickly zoom in on, with her visually zoom in on what the different rules were. That's the book. The coil has held up really well. If you watch my other videos, you know that we recently moved and the coils weren't damaged at all in the boxes. So that's good. The cover, though, you can see is starting to wear. I wish the cover was either laminated or a heavier material, but in fact my other one, my level 3, the cover eventually came off completely. But size wise, this is, I guess I would say, like a 5.5 by 8.5 size. Let's see, yeah, so like an A5 size paper. Okay, Okay, here's the student workbook. Okay. The book is bound on top, which I really like, not in the way is their writing. Starts off with how to use it, and then it jumps right in. Okay. Each lesson has, almost always, is one page front and back to it. And the front page usually has two different sections of two different types of practice on it. And then the back page usually has three. The lesson, each section will have a parenthesis in the, with a number inside of it, and that corresponds to the lesson section. With the diagramming, it tells you which sections you'll be able to find the different kinds of sentences in. So, especially as you get later on, you'll be able to, you know, easily find out where you need to go back if your student doesn't recall. Now, as I said, there is some writing involved, and this is, they had to write, they were talking about topic sentences and paragraphs, so that's what they were practicing here. And then, you know, here's another example of what writing they do need to, but this was, you know, basically correcting what they did. Now this is the review, and I don't use the tests, but we use the review kind of like a test. She goes through and does everything that she can herself. She works on it independently, and then when she's gotten through everything that she was able to complete by herself, I have her use the manual and go back and look it up, because again, even on the reviews, they give you the information where to locate. Review is usually 2 pages front and back. The page, you know, one lesson, including reading it, usually averages about 15 minutes, and this is the level 4. I mentioned she's 11, but I feel like this is a totally appropriate grade level for her now, or for a 4th grade. I wish they would have included a, you know, either a review of the whole entire book or broken into 2 parts. I've done one halfway through. But I don't know, I think that's about all I have to say about this. If you have any questions about this one, please leave them below and I will be sure to respond. If there are any other curricula that you'd like to take a look, you're interested in seeing inside of, please let me know, and if I have it, I will do it. So I hope you enjoyed this, and please check back for other curricula spotlight. Thank you.